Welcome to episode 53 of the OVW Fanzone Live, where fans talk back. My name is Jackman Oaks.
You take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and there you have the OVW Fanzone. I'm Brian Hines. How's everybody doing tonight? With us, as always, is the voice of our disembodied producer, Tiny Brian.
I actually do have a body. It's kind of mad at me right now, but it does exist.
You are the one who wrote disembodied in the script.
Disembodied voice, not,
Okay.
I told you buying shrimp out of that guy's trunk was a bad idea.
That's a deduction in points.
£4 for $1. You're not going to find a better deal on shrimp than that.
You couldn't pay me to eat shrimp of any kind. No, I'm out.
I got to ask, though, even though I probably don't have to ask. Was your intro, is that Muppets?
No, actually, it was The Facts of Life.
Oh, okay.
A spinoff from Different Strokes in the 80s.
Yeah, which was my previous first choice, but not near as fun to sneak in here as The Muppet Show. I was surprised that nobody else got that.
I think Becky Katie did. She got it in the chat.
She did, but
she's good for that.
I figured that you would have gotten it, or possibly not. So there we are.
Speaking of the chat and all of the people in it, be sure you stay active in the chat room. Jump in there with all of your questions, comments, concerns, anything wrestling or OVW related for us. Tiny Brian is in the chat room as at OVW Podcast. He will be collecting all of your comments for the last segment of this show where the fans get to truly talk back. And, of course, the super chat interrupts us.
That's right. If you have something pressing that you want us to know, question, comment, whatever, a super chat is the way to go.
Speaking of something pressing, we're gonna break format a little bit here. About an hour, 2 hours ago, there was a message posted to Instagram from David Vox Mullen.
Yes.
And you may remember David Vox Mullen is the chairman of the board of OVW, at least the current chairman of the board.
So David Vox Mullen just let the cat out of the bag on Instagram that he has a special announcement tomorrow night for the fans of Ohio Valley Wrestling, both in attendance at Davis Arena and here on YouTube. So, as well as tons of other places around the world. Mm-hmm. Any guess what that could be? Hear from the chairman of the board. We hear from David Vox Mullen. He's not around all the time. He usually only comes when he has the goods, right? Usually some sort of infraction. Usually some sort of
somebody needs to come in and make an announcement.
It's a big deal whenever he comes around, right?
Yeah.
Or when he calls in from his crypto layer.
Well, that's true.
Based on the message, it didn't say he would be in the house, so I think that crypto layer
calling in from the crypto layer.
Yeah.
Okay. David Vox Mullen calling in from the crypto layer tomorrow. Any idea what it is, Brian Hines? Any guess?
I've got two potential guesses. One of them maybe not so much, but if I had to really guess, it's going to be one of two things. They've picked a new chief operating officer.
Okay.
Or more likely, the Obsidian Angel Star Rider situation in the Rush division.
Let's catch up on that really quick. So at the end of last week's OVW television episode 1334, which
44,
our coverage, 44, which our coverage of will go up live at 8 p.m. over on our YouTube channel. That's OVW Podcast on YouTube.
That's right. Tonight is episode 99 and an official 8-1.
That's the name of it. That's
yes.
Pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's mid.
Deduct a point. Go ahead and deduct a point. Yeah, like people. I found out people kind of like it when you do that. So you go ahead and you deduct those points over there. I think that you are not speaking totally outside of the realm of possibility. Anything could happen when David Vox Mullen shows up. Anything could happen whenever he makes an announcement. But that ending last week of OVW television, where the Obsidian Angel, after earning a spot to challenge Super Z for the Rush Division Championship, beat Super Z for that Rush Division Championship.
If you want to put it like that, but the fix was in, man. It wasn't a 1-on-1; it was 4-on-1.
The fix was completely in. It was due to referee distraction that the Obsidian Angel was able to get an advantage with Star Rider
after receiving the curb stomp from Star Rider.
Curb stomping Star Rider, curb stomping Super Z, and the Obsidian Angel taking home the victory over Super Z. He just kind of, it seemed as if forfeited his belt to Star Rider, gave his belt to Star Rider.
Yeah.
The implication, it seems very much, at least in the Obsidian Angel's head and in Star Rider's head, is that Star Rider is the new Rush Division champion.
That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works, kids.
So I think that you're sniffing in the right direction there, Brian Hines, with David Vox Mullen's potential interference, I guess, him correcting this, him setting this down a right path, right?
Yeah.
But again, we don't know nothing. Could be anything. David Vox Mullen is unpredictable and doesn't make his presence known unless something has to happen. But I think you're sniffing in the right direction. I think you're barking up the right tree.
Time will tell, as it always does.
So that's our break in format for this week. Go ahead and in the chat, tell us what you think David Vox Mullen's announcement will be, and we'll read off some of the best ones.
Yeah, I haven't seen anybody say anything about it yet.
Yeah,
but we're early into this, and we've got an hour.
They're pretty mad about the Star Rider or the Super Z mugging.
Rightly so.
people were not happy.
Yeah, Danny Rurup called it a mugging, and Roy Bischoff, now friend of the show, a former guest,
That's right. Hey,
says
Roy.
it confirms he agrees it was a 4-on-1 situation. Took like 3 refs to get that match done.
It's like I said, it could be anything. I really do think it'll probably be the Star Rider situation, though.
That's my guess.
Let's get back on track here, Brian Hines. Let's do some tour updates.
Well, it appears as though I have some tour dates right in front of me. Let's do that, shall we? Every Thursday, OVW Live at Hot Point, legendary Hot Point Davis Arena, 6:15 p.m., 4400 Shepherdsville Road in Louisville. Then we've got the OVW Rumble at the Raceway Series, and that is in Junction City, Kentucky. We have 2 current dates scheduled. That is June 21st and July 19th. It's my understanding that May 17th will be scheduled to be determined at a later date in August.
Yeah, that seems to be where we are.
Okay, we've got OVW Hard Reset, Hot Point Davis Arena, June 14th. Free all-ages show at Element Eatery in Cincinnati, Ohio on June 28th. Our favorite shows of the year happen at the Manchester Music Hall, and we've got another one coming up for you on July 5th. It's going to be a fantastic weekend if you like fireworks and OVW in Lexington. We've got, last but not least, OVW Independence Rage, Hot Point Davis Arena on July 26th, 3 weeks after that. You can get tickets to any and all of these shows at OVW Tix, that's TIX.com.
And man, the build up to Hard Reset is already we've already got a lot of meat on the bone. We already have 2 matches announced for that, and a lot of things on the horizon that look to be pretty big for Hard Reset. Of course, we have Mount Kadeem versus Eric Surge.
Right.
It's going to be a huge match, not just physically, but just
monumental.
The gravity of the match, right?
Yeah.
And then we have Calhero and a partner of his choosing versus
to be named later,
Crixus and Tony Gunn.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of, even in the little bit that we know about the card of Hard Reset right now, there's a lot of potential for change and a lot of potential for some earth-shattering developments in the world of OVW. So again, OVWTIX.com for all of these wonderful tour dates that you just read, Brian Hines.
Yeah, that's right.
So let's go ahead and take a break really quick. We'll be back right after this.
Dream a reality and attend the world-famous Harvard of Pro Wrestling. The OVW Academy with Al Snow, the birthplace of legends including Batista, John Cena, Randy Orton, The Miz, and many more. Will you be the next name added to that impressive list? Visit OVWacademy.com and apply now.
Week, hopefully we'll have this all straightened out.
Fanzone. Whoa.
Get your ticket.
My name is Buzz Backlund, and I'm in the OVW Fanzone.
Aw, Buzz. Welcome back to the OVW Fan Zone Live. This is where fans talk back. My name is Jackman Oaks.
I'm Brian Hines. I miss that guy.
Yeah, Buzz Backlund, man, what a wonderful guy that was. What great to be around.
He made last summer really special.
He really did. He really did. We wish him all the best. We know out in the chat and in the further world of OVW that they share that same sentiment with us. All of the above. Not only was Summer was so much fun with him last summer, but an upstanding gentleman as well.
Yeah, except for that chicken wing. That was kind of painful, but that's beside the
Now you took my last cigarette. I don't want to hear it. All right, let's get into some predictions here. Or let's
start
recap.
out with review. Hold your finger, Malachi.
Malachi, calm down. Let's review last week's.
Yes.
Last week's what?
No, don't.
You almost got me.
Rise. All right, let's start with we had a match, Dustin Jackson versus the media champion versus Parker Lee, but that did not happen at all.
No.
We didn't see either one of those gentlemen.
No mention
so
of it whatsoever.
All the way out.
When we first heard that it was going to be Parker Lee in a match against Dustin Jackson, my mind immediately went to Parker Lewis Can't Lose. There's a short-lived 90s show for you.
It's a knockoff Ferris Bueller, right?
Mm-hmm.
Parker Lewis Can't Lose. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a knockoff Ferris Bueller's Day Off, made for television.
It was, although there was a Ferris Bueller's Day Off TV show for a little while too.
Really?
Oh yes.
So was it Ferris Bueller's Week Off?
I mean, it was just fair.
Ferris Bueller's Show Off.
Yeah,
That's it.
That's pretty good.
Got it.
He did like to show off
He
that
did.
Ferris Bueller.
Such a show off.
What a rascal.
So let's get into the real matches we saw. We start with Anthony Katina versus Danny Limelight. Both of you correctly selected Anthony Katina as the winner there. Roy, we appreciate your spirit. Last week you did call this one, but unfortunately you did not.
I will have to deduct some points, Roy. I'm sorry.
Anthony Katina definitely won the match there, but Danny Limelight showed off.
Yes.
Danny Limelight was unforgettable in his Rise debut. Would love to see more of him.
Absolutely.
All right. And then both of you also correctly predicted Angelica Risk versus Rachel Lay. But what an incredible match that was.
It really was.
Great show opener.
Yeah.
And yeah, maybe want cotton candy. I don't know.
Angelica Risk is just going to keep on climbing up the women's division. I don't see anybody that can beat her right now.
Yeah, she's in that spot Cash was in a few months ago, that top of the show, climbing the ladder kind of situation. I hope she stays there for a couple more weeks. Then we had the Fatal 4-Way women's division, and absolutely no one. Well, I don't think anyone took Sophia Rose. You guys both guessed Freya the Slayer.
I'm pretty sure it was unanimous vote for Freya.
Yeah, I did not get everybody's vote. We had like 20 people here.
I believe you were correct, Brian Hines, speaking that.
Yeah.
I think we all went for Freya last week. And honestly, one of the biggest surprises of last week was Freya not walking out the champion. Very, very surprised yet again that Freya cannot seem to beat J-Rod, and it's not like she doesn't have the opportunity. She lets J-Rod get in her head. She can't operate correctly around J-Rod. If she had taken the 2 seconds that she took
after that choke slam
to pin J-Rod, we would have had a very different night last Thursday night. Sophia Rose would have probably been, as you like to say, 10 pounds lighter.
Yeah.
But Sophia Rose capitalized on that moment, came in, took the victory, retained the championship.
If you want to get under J-Rod's skin, hit her with one of these.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
I don't do that.
It's what we hear. It's becoming a regular segment. So, yeah. Quite a match, though, that Fatal 4-Way.
Yeah. No, those are the 4 best competitors in the women's division right now, and they showed off with that match. It was a very, very great way to end our one last week.
So without further ado, let's move on to the most popular segment on OVW Fanzone Live, Predictions!
Oh, okay. That's even less points.
No, I think I finally found my feet on that.
No, that was worse than usual.
It was
Let's
like
get into
Goku.
Hey, yeah. Okay,
Isn't
you should like it.
Wasn't that the beginning of like a Korn song or something?
Are you
Yeah.
ready? Yeah, it's
It's the beginning of the Korn song we have at home.
from 1990. It's how they started Woodstock 99. It was their first song.
I was
Woodstock
there for
99.
that.
Blind.
Yeah.
Blind's the name of that song.
All right, let's start with a tag team match in the women's division. Following on from that fatal four-way, we see the OVW Women's Champ Sophia Rose teaming up with lovely Miss Larkin to take on J-Rod and Freya the Slayer teaming as a tag group.
I mean, to touch on what we were just touching upon, the biggest question here is how in the world do J-Rod and Freya the Slayer share a ring together on the same side of the ring?
We were literally just having that discussion. You can check it out on our YouTube channel, the OVW Podcast, when our latest episode drops at 8 o'clock. We were just
after
talking
this
about
show.
that.
Not only are J-Rod and Freya the Slayer two of the most fearsome competitors in the women's division, they are two of the biggest egos in the women's division.
Yeah.
This is a smokestack ready to blow up, right? I don't see a world where J-Rod and Freya the Slayer can coexist. There's something about J-Rod that Freya the Slayer it fries her brain. She don't know how to act between fumbling the pin last week and disqualifying herself all those months ago. There's just something that J-Rod does to Freya that makes Freya, all of her logic go completely out the window.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see how they coexist at all.
But have you seen lovely Miss Larkin? Have you seen her invisible knife?
There's the other question. I'm not playing the invisible knife game.
We're still looking for the invisible knife. If you have any information about the whereabouts of the invisible knife, please let Mr. Joe or any of the OVW staff members know, because this is a pretty serious situation that's going on for several weeks now.
The bigger question than the invisible knife, though, is, J-Rod and Freya the Slayer are going to have a hard time sharing a ring together on the same side of the ring. But what version of Miss Larkin shows up tomorrow night?
All of them.
Can Sophia Rose contend with that? Can Sophia Rose work in tandem with Miss Larkin?
She needs to let lovely Miss Larkin just drive the bus and just fill in the gaps, because she's going to be all over the place in this match.
Well, and somebody that might be a friend this week could very quickly turn into an enemy, especially with Miss Larkin, potential title shot. And it's Miss Larkin, up until this point, it seems like her affections can turn on a dime. Any sort of miscommunication in this match or stolen glory in this match could result in a different side of Miss Larkin coming out and a bad night for our women's champion, Sophia Rose. That's what we're looking at, right? Is can Freya and J-Rod exist long enough to get a win versus can lovely Miss Larkin and whichever version of her shows up, can Sophia Rose stay in her good graces long enough to pull out a victory? I think that the chances are actually slightly higher for J-Rod and Freya the Slayer.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
So I am going to go J-Rod and Freya the Slayer have a higher chance of coexisting with each other, have a higher chance of keeping some semblance of teamwork, and they will take home the victory.
Interesting. I don't know, man. It seems pretty volatile on that side of the ring. Almost as volatile as lovely Miss Larkin herself, but I feel like the lovely Miss Larkins, plural, because we don't know which one's going to show up, and Sophia Rose, I think that they can pull it together for at least one night and go out there and make, I wouldn't say short work of these two former women's division champions.
I don't think you could. I don't think anybody could make short work of a team of J-Rod and Freya the Slayer.
But I do feel like they could effectively work together as a unit, all 2 or 3 or 4 of them, and pull out the victory tomorrow night. I'm going to go with Larkin and Rose.
Okay, you gotta love it.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
All right, so let's move
Sounds like a
on
law
to
firm.
another test for a young contender here at OVW when we see Adam Revolver take on former UK defensiveman one Mr. Cash Daniel.
I forgot that he did the thing with his thumb.
Honestly, I'd forgotten until I was ready to say the name.
This is an interesting match. I mean, Adam Revolver is, in a lot of ways, the heart and soul of OVW. Even though he might not seem like he's always in the biggest angles or the biggest storylines or wins the most championships. These days, he's been around for a long, long time, and his stuff, he don't need to win no more championships. He doesn't want them, right? I'm sure he'll take them, but I think at this point, as long as the check clears and he gets to like poke somebody in the eye, like Adam Revolver's having a good time.
He gets some of that leftover Wix pizza after the show.
Yeah, I think Adam Revolver's having a good time.
Yeah,
I think that a matchup against someone like Cash Daniel is very, very interesting because they are so diametrically opposed. But we know that Adam Revolver has been around long enough to have a solution to every sort of type of opponent. Bigger ones than him, smaller ones than him, faster ones than him. Doesn't matter, right? Yeah. Adam Revolver's got a solution to almost everybody. Having said that, Cash Daniel has been stacking up some pretty impressive victories recently. Most notably this past week against Jake Lawless. The big question is Cash Daniel going to be able to outmaneuver Adam Revolver psychologically?
That's a good question.
And the only thing that can really, really, really make someone sharper in the ring as far as predicting what can or could happen or what their opponent's going to do next is just being in the ring and dedicating yourself to the craft of professional wrestling. And Adam Revolver has dedicated more of his time so far to Cash Daniel in that respect. I think it's going to be hard for Cash to maneuver around Adam Revolver. I think Adam Revolver is going to have a response for just about everything Cash Daniel knows to throw at him at this point. And I think that we might see our first loss handed out to Cash Daniel at the hands of Adam Revolver tomorrow evening.
All right. Jackman takes Adam. Brian, do you share his opinion?
That's an interesting point. I mean, Adam Revolver is no stranger to the ring. He's no stranger to any title situation.
Been around and done it.
Yeah, definitely. Cash Daniel, new on the block at OVW.
And we saw just last week, Cash Daniel is still like has a little bit of this like team player thing, this like rah, I'm going to get the locker room behind me thing. Adam Revolver is a one-man gang in that respect. Adam Revolver don't need friends, doesn't care about friends. Never has.
No. Even when he had friends, he didn't care.
So what are you thinking, though?
I feel like Cash is going to walk in there with the typical football mentality, and he's, going to be on the line, waiting for the snap count, and he plans on just, going right through him. But I don't see Adam Revolver standing there and just taking whatever hit Cash has getting ready to throw his way. He's smart. If you ask him, he's never cheated a day in his life, but video evidence would prove otherwise.
Yeah, we have some tape.
Yeah, we have some tape. Just like he had fireballs once upon a time, or all sorts of things. I don't think it's going to be an easy night for Cash Daniel. Do I think he'll come out on top? It's possible, but I'm going with human thumb, Adam Revolver.
Yeah, I just think that I think Adam Revolver is going to be spending a lot more of this match playing a bullfighter than he is a professional wrestler.
Ole.
Yeah.
All right. So 2 votes for Adam Revolver this week. Look at you guys. Let's move along to more tag team action, where we see the OVW Media Champ Dustin Jackson tag with one Calhero.
Okay.
To take on the new OVW Tag Champions, the Trifecta.
This is something else that we were just talking about in the episode of the podcast that we just recorded that will be dropping at 8 o'clock. At Hard Reset, there is a tag team match. Shotgun Tony Gunn, King of Kentucky, Scottish War Machine Crixus on one side versus...
We got to get him like a third nickname, too. Just pile them all on.
What would it be?
I'm not sure, but I would prefer it to be another regional reference. King of Kentucky, Scottish War Machine. I don't know. Elay, something.
The Australian Never Visitor?
Nah,
Wait, what?
What does that mean?
I don't know. He's probably never been to Australia.
Okay, that's negative points right there.
I'm
Yeah,
on
you're
Cinderfest, leave
you're
me
reaching
alone.
for that one.
Yeah.
You're reaching for that one.
I'm
And
trying to think
coming
of
up
other
with-
regional.
Maybe like a grape varietal. Maybe like the Merlot Murderer.
What?
Yeah,
Does
the
he-
Merlot region of France.
Oh,
Wow.
I see. But
okay.
I don't know. It's been my my experience that he fancies the whiskey. So
I better get down on some Merlot too.
I don't
No,
know.
he's got more class than to drink Merlot. Let's be honest.
It's hard to say. So at the hard reset, it's going to be Calhero and a mystery opponent. But in this case, it's Dustin Jackson against the trifecta. Trifecta look good right now.
Yeah, and between Calhero and Dustin Jackson, both they really don't like nuisances, and they can be a little easily distracted in the moment, especially whenever somebody has one of the two of them have a head full of steam, a lot of momentum, and then something interrupts their plan. They can often get a little distracted, take their eye off the ball a little bit because they are so invested, right? They're so passionate about this match and what they're doing that they can overreact. They can take their eye off the ball, right? They're both young men. They're both hot under the collar. Totally understand. The thing about the trifecta, though, is that they have that gaslight right outside the ring, right?
They've got the third man, yeah.
They've got the third man, and they've got a guy who's very, very, very good at getting on people's nerves, Anthony Katina.
He's a master.
He is. He's great. And then on top of that, you've got the best tag team going right now in the trifecta. Not only are they the champions, they're the best tag team going. Brandon Beretta and Ashton Adonis.
In the span of about a month, yeah, they have quickly proven themselves to be a well-oiled machine and a tightly working unit.
But Dustin Jackson and Calhero, of course, the Fanny Pack Party, they've been in the titles. They've held those same belts before as well. They know what that space is like. They know how to be a tag team together. Cal's changed a lot since the Fanny Pack Party.
Our little boys all grows up.
Dustin's changed a lot since the Fanny Pack Party.
Yeah.
Is that chemistry still there? Is that magic still there, especially up against a well-oiled machine like the trifecta? I'm going to have to say it is not. Trifecta going to have to take the victory over Calhero and Dustin Jackson tomorrow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, as much as, I would love to see Dustin Jackson and Calhero come out on top. And they are both great competitors individually. They have history as a tag team. I really don't see this being their moment.
I
feel like it's the trifecta all the way. I mean, not only the matchup 2-on-2 right now, Beretta and Adonis are on fire.
There's a thing that we like to throw around all the time, like we all, sometimes in jest, but most of the time in seriousness, which is, it's the year of, and it's the year of, and in the past, it's always been predictions based on like where we could see how hard this person was working. We could see them week in and week out grow, and we could see them week in and week out, deserve these opportunities and deserve championships and whatnot. Sophia Rose, obviously. Donovan Cecil is another one we like to throw out. With no way to have predicted it at the beginning of the year or even a month ago, I'm willing to take a year of my own on the trifecta.
Wow.
So, I think that they're that good. I think that they're that good and that needed in that division. And I think that these boys are going to hold those championships for a long, 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 long time. And I'm here for it. They're the best thing going in that division, best thing going in a while in that division.
I would just love to see who the summer rivalry would be with them. I mean, if Beaches and Cream are out, if Loud and Lawless are out because Ryan Von Rocket's on tour, who would it be?
Well, I think that even these two gentlemen might be thinking the same thing that I'm about to say, and that's Lawless and Luscious. These guys are both recent champions. These guys are both without a tag team partner. We even saw them kind of lamenting those facts on last week's show.
Which led to a discussion of this very thing on the OVW podcast, which comes out at 8 p.m. on our YouTube channel.
So I'm thinking that it could be Loud, it could be loud, I guess Lawless and Luscious, not Loud and Luscious, but Lawless and Luscious. Other than that, I'm not sure who's there. Doug said last week that he doesn't even know where AJZ and Leo Fox are. So, I mean, it seems as if they're out as well. I'm just not
that
sure.
could be some misdirection. You don't know.
That's very true.
It's not like we haven't seen misdirection on the part of the Revolution before. Ow, ow, my hip. Oh, God, oh, God.
He did get away with that one a few times, didn't he?
Right.
No, I just don't know. And that's another reason why I feel so confident in the trifecta right now is not only did they beat these other teams, they decimated them. They destroyed them. They don't even exist anymore, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't have any other guesses, to be honest with you.
All right. Well, we do have one more match. How about we get to that?
Love to.
Our final match to predict this evening is the one we've kind of all been waiting for, where we see Tony Evans take on his former insurance policy in the form of Jay De Niro, with his new insurance policy in the form of Drew Hernandez beside him.
So I might have to correct you for a moment. I don't think that this is the match we've all been waiting for. I think the match that we've all been waiting for is Tony Evans versus Jay De Niro.
That's what this is.
The match that we're getting is Tony Evans with Drew Hernandez versus Jay De Niro.
I see the distinction now.
That is a good point.
And that is the hinge point, right? I think that we all want Jay De Niro to just get his hands on Tony Evans.
And clean his clock.
No interruptions. Maybe a cage is involved. Maybe a kendo stick's involved. I don't know. Maybe just the glove. Maybe that's all it takes is just Jay knocking out Tony one time with that glove.
Yeah.
That's not the match we're getting, though. Drew Hernandez is going to play a massive part in this. Drew Hernandez is going to play a massive role in this. I would be surprised if there's a point where Jay De Niro gets his hands anywhere near Tony Evans, much less them have a wrestling match tomorrow night based on the interference that we're going to see from Drew Hernandez. I'm going, honestly, disqualification here. I don't think that we're going to get a straightforward wrestling match out of this. I think there's going to be too much interference. If Drew Hernandez is as skilled as Jay De Niro was at ref distraction and stuff like that, then it might just end up being Tony Evans' night. But by no stretch of the imagination do I think that we're going to get the Jay De Niro versus Tony Evans match, because Drew Hernandez is just going to prove himself to be too much of a force here.
Brian, what do you think?
Well, that's a pretty valid point. If it was for the fact that Drew Hernandez is accompanying Superior Tony Evans, to the ring this week, it'd be a different story altogether. But to echo your previous point, Brian, I have very much wanted to see this for a long time, and I know that I'm not alone. A lot of people have been waiting for this to happen. You've been seeing the cracks between Superior Tony Evans and Jay De Niro form months ago and get bigger and bigger to the point where there's no turning back at this point. A lot of people in the OVW fan zone are on the side of Jay De Niro, myself included. And
Same.
even though he yelled at me at the Bourbon Brawl, I'm totally fine with that.
That was a different Jay De Niro.
Yeah, it was a different Jay De Niro.
Long time ago.
But it's been a long time coming. We've seen these two on the same side the ring quite a bit up until very, very recently. And now we see Jay De Niro out on his own. He actually came and talked to us at one point, and I got to ask him a little bit about who he was and what was going on. Do we still have that?
That clip it's in our social feeds, yeah.
Where? I looked for it.
Should be there.
Okay.
I'll look for it.
We'll drum that up.
Yeah,
It's old. I mean, that was like last year, though.
It
so
was almost 2 years ago
it's
at this
pretty
point.
deep.
Yeah, I just didn't find it on the our OVW TV or OVW podcast YouTube channel. But my head says Jack Minogues is right. It's going to be either Jay De Niro versus Drew Hernandez, or it's going to be a disqualification. But my heart says Jay De Niro, and it's not just because I'm a member of the Jay De Niro Shoe Appreciation Society. I'm going with Jay De Niro.
All right. Very rarely do one of you actually pick a disqualification, but I can definitely see that.
There's a time and place for everything.
That's what we have as far as tomorrow goes.
Sure.
So we've already pretty well talked about the Star Rider thing with him suddenly being handed the championship. We've kind of talked about your thoughts on that. Anything else that we think might go on?
Who else is in action tomorrow?
I don't really remember seeing it, unfortunately.
What?
I didn't see the poster. I'm sorry. Let's see who else.
Anybody in the chat, can you tell us who's going to be in action tomorrow or appearing tomorrow?
Well, how about this? Actually, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back for our final segment. We're going to spend a lot of time with the fans here in the final segment of the OVW Fanzone Live. And we're going to see if we can find any other inactions to maybe address, maybe speculate upon, and in that time period as well.
The chat also has several other potential Crixus nicknames for you.
Oh, I love it.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love it.
We'll get to those and
Good
everything
deal.
else the chat room has right after this.
I want to take a moment to express my deepest gratitude. Without you, there is no OVW. Without your passion, your energy, your unwavering support, there is no us. There's no talent, no production. Without you, there's no OVW. Thank you for being the driving force behind everything we do. The unsung heroes of our saga. So from the bottom of our hearts, thank you, OVW fans. We can't do it without you.
Hi, this is Roy Bishop, and we're in the OVW Fanzone.
Welcome back, OVW Fanzone Live, where fans talk back. This is the final segment. My name is Jackman Oaks.
And I'm Brian Hines.
So I went to the website and found a couple things that were missed by our producer, not to name any names.
That's
It wasn't me, though. So let's see. We do
Go ahead
have...
and put it in his column.
That's fine. The guy whose fault it is has my same last name, so it's fine.
Build
we do
to the
see
same address,
Yep.
as they would say.
Tony Gunn and Crixus are both in action tomorrow.
Okay.
I see.
Tony Gunn and Crixus together?
No, they're just on the same poster. It says they're both in action. I would assume they have separate matches.
Would love to see Tony Gunn back, man. Like, we were so on edge for that Calhero match that ended up just being or not just being a Crixus match, but ended up being a Crixus match that Tony Gunn interfered in. I'm ready to see Tony Gunn in singles action. I think that he left OVW at the end of 2024 on
the top of his
fire,
game?
on fire, on top of his game.
And until Cal put it out.
And well, yeah, but I think that he also I think he looks great. I've seen the social media updates. He's been hitting the gym. I'm ready to see Tony Gunn in a singles match.
You don't
Let's
think he's
do it,
going to pull
baby.
the old, I hurt my arm. Wait,
God,
no, I
I hope
didn't.
not. Also have a match that was overlooked featuring the OVW heavyweight champion Mount Kadeem taking on Showtime Shanklin.
Oh, buddy.
Oh, come on, man.
buddy.
Come on, man.
They couldn't even get Justice Davis out there at ringside.
Maybe. He's not on the poster, though.
Man.
Does anybody want Showtime Shanklin?
I mean,
as much as we love him.
I most definitely want Showtime Shanklin to win. Do I?
Anybody willing to predict it?
No.
I will say I will say this. It's not going to be as bad as we're making it out to be because Eric Surge is going to be there to save the day.
Oh, that's a good point.
That's interesting. Okay, so, but we will go ahead and do a double prediction for Mount Kadeem.
Yep.
And let's see.
Sorry, Showtime.
And we have a name for the Star Rider faction. It is apparently the Doom Syndicate.
The Doom Syndicate.
And they're going to have a celebration.
Is David,
Why?
Because one of them won the championship and then gave it to somebody else. I don't know. That's
Yeah,
what's
but-
happening.
Is this before? I bet this is what starts the show tomorrow.
Yeah.
They're out there celebrating, and then David Voxmullen calls in from the Bat Cave or wherever it is.
No, I got it. They got a big box. Like, they got a big present wrapped box, right? They're like Evil Z and Icon and Obsidian Angel. They're like presenting Super Z or Star Rider with this box. He thinks it's gonna be like a really cool gift, and then it's just David Voxmullen, and he's like, "Actually, guys, you can't. You're not allowed to have the championship anymore." That's my prediction for that.
I think
I
you're
am
right.
100% behind that. That just makes me happy.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I would
that's our,
love that.
That's our final prediction. We don't need to use the sign again. But let's get into. But
He's drunk with power.
He really is drunk with power. Let's get into some of these comments. Let's start with.
He's like Drago Bloodfist over there.
I don't know what that means. Roy Bischoff says he wants to see Angelica and Maddie the American Baddie team up.
Team up?
Team up.
Team up. What do you guys think about a team up between those two?
I think it would be a lot of fun, be a lot of gaga for sure. The thing with Angelica, though, right now is she's just come out with too much to prove over these last handful of weeks, these last handful of matches. And I think that she's looking at I think she's looking at Sophia Rose right now. I don't think she's thinking about anything other than how do I put myself into the position to get myself in a match with Sophia Rose. How do I get into the orbit?
Risk?
Yes.
Yeah.
How do I get into
Definitely.
the orbit of Sophia Rose?
And I don't know whether the ego of Maddie the American Baddie, there would be enough room on that side of the ring for another tag team partner.
But could you imagine the promos?
Yeah, the vibes would just be everything.
Tim and Eric, her homemade Tim and Eric style promos with Angelica Risk. It would be amazing. Be amazing.
I got to go with Jackman on this. I want to see those promos.
Can we get an interview with Maddie, but she's like, it's on Zoom and she's doing her own background or something like.
We
I just
certainly-
want to see more of this outsider art that Maddie the American Baddie makes. It's fascinating stuff. It is fascinating stuff.
Yeah.
Josh Gardner said regarding my opening for predictions that I did a really good job hopping him up.
Oh,
So
well.
there you are.
That makes one of us.
I think you definitely, for better or for worse, you changed the energy of the show.
I did do that. Sure.
Yeah, boy, you sure did. All right. Thanks to Pantload.
James Byers, talking about Al Snow, who's been in the ring recently, says that he looks like he could still go hard as ever.
Yeah.
You guys want to
Yeah.
see Al Snow get in the ring in OVW?
Absolutely.
I think everybody. I mean, there's a time, if there's a place anybody wants to see Al, it's OVW. They would go bananas. It doesn't matter who he's facing. Doesn't matter how long it takes him to kick somebody's ass. It just matters that he went out there to kick it.
Yep.
And they would go bananas. Man, he could wrestle for 5 minutes. He could wrestle for 20, and people would be here for it the entire time.
Hell, I'd settle for him coming out and doing the Persian clubs.
Yeah, I would like to see that in real life. I think, like, just out of curiosity. Like,
Yeah.
those things look intense.
Yeah, they look, insane. Let's see. Let's talk a little women's tag match. Josh Gardner wonders if we could see somebody run in to interfere with that chaos match of a tag that we're going to see tomorrow.
I just don't know who it could be. I don't know anyone that's in the orbit of that match enough to want to insert themselves into it.
I'm
Any-
feverishly trying to think.
Anything could happen, but I honestly think that if there is a run-in or an interference, that it's coming from the call's coming from inside the house on that one.
You think so?
Yeah, if there's
What if lovely Miss Larkin comes and runs in the ring on herself?
she will be running to the ring no matter what. There
Yeah.
will be a run to the ring. I just don't know if there will be a run in.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no such thing right now as a low energy, lovely Miss Arkin.
No,
Every
absolutely
version
not.
of her is super high energy.
Yeah, and they're all like she's trying to get up on stage on The Price is Right, and she can't find the stairs, and she's just totally freaking out.
Josh Gardner thinks Al should start a faction, but Josh, my friend, that's OVW. It's his faction. It's his promotion.
Wrestling is a love and a passion we all share.
A love and a faction we all share.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Josh says maybe a return on a run-in. Anybody we'd like to see return from the women's division? I mean, there's a lot.
There's a
list.
ton of people in the women's division that we would love to see return. You know, like we wait patiently and longingly for any update from Shalance.
Right?
Oh, wow.
We miss you, Shalance.
Awesome.
I know. I wish that I had the opportunity. I was in Atlanta. I was supposed to be there for like 10 hours. I was only there for like 3. And I didn't want to rush Shalance around, or else I would have tried to get an update from her.
That's a deduction right there.
I deserve that one. But, yeah, I mean, I think that there's any number of people that you would love to see walk back in that ring. It's just like, what's the likelihood of it? You know, Ellie, Layla, Hollywood, Haley J, Tiffany Nieves, Shalance. Those are the ones that just come to hand, and that's more than a handful. Or I just don't know who it could be.
Well, good evening, Junk Punch Hero.
Yes.
Our old friend, we meet again.
Cough, Layla Gray, cough, he says just now.
Yeah.
I mentioned her in my list, and I just don't.
It's coming up on a year now.
It is, but I just don't see. I don't see. Would be amazing, right? I'd go bananas. I'd be off the wall for it. But I
would love to see any of those.
I just don't know the likelihood of it
OVW.
happening.
Did you mention Dream Girl Ellie?
Yeah, did.
That's my prediction. If I was going to predict somebody from the past to return that I know, it would be Dream Girl Ellie.
Nah. She's going to be wrestling up in Canada soon, I believe.
Good for her. She stays busy.
Very nice, eh?
Let's do some knife theories.
Okay.
Victor says that he thinks maybe Freya didn't actually throw the knife away, and that she has had the knife this whole
She
time.
tucked it.
Yes,
that is a jerk move.
it would be.
But pretty clever.
So Amelia Jane says she has been looking for the knife. You can't really look for it because it is invisible. You've got to just sort of perceive out for it. Maybe listen for it. Maybe I don't know.
How does that work?
Smell
Do you
for
listen
it?
to a lot of knives?
I mean, they can make noises.
Do you smell the blades?
Never know. You would smell what's on the blade, presumably.
You know, whenever you drop something underneath like your chest of drawers, and you kind of tentatively reach underneath it because you don't know where it is.
Or what else is under there?
Yeah, or what else is under there to try to find the thing. I think that is what he's describing a process that's closer to divination than he is actual like searching for the lost knife. Like I think he's talking about going and get a dowel rod and trying to get water out of the ground, basically.
Yeah, I have an uncle that used to do that.
My grandmother swears that we had someone in our family that could divine warts off.
Wow, that's Amelia Jane does comment now that she has skills, so maybe she can perceive that knife in some way and find it for her.
I don't know why she just doesn't go back to the manufacturer of the invisible knife and just get like a new invisible knife, or maybe like an upgrade invisible knife.
You don't want to deal with those people, man. They're very hard to deal with.
The Invisible Knife Company of Nebraska?
No, they're called the Central Intelligence Agency, and they specialize in weapons that disappear.
Well, now the lights are going to go off and they'll all go away. Jamie Salmons wonders, could Miss Larkin turn on herself?
Yeah.
I think that there's every bit of a possibility that Miss Larkin could turn on herself and become the next president. Like, I think that those two things are in equal measure in Miss Larkin's life. I think that she is unpredictable, and that's the only thing that you can predict about her, as the old adage goes.
Yeah.
Tell him Freddie Cincha has just joined the chat. Hey, tell
him. Do we have Crixus nicknames?
We are just up to the Crixus nicknames portions of the show. Let's see. Victor suggests Lord of the Ville.
That's not bad.
Lord of the
That's
Vole,
pretty good, actually.
Kentucky.
Yeah, that's pretty solid. That's
pretty
the
good.
Vole.
Amelia Jane says the Bluegrass Bruiser.
That's pretty good.
Okay, yeah.
Pretty good.
Then Jamie Salmon says the Roaming Renegade.
That's pretty good.
Does he get charged by the minute for roaming?
No, they got rid of that a long time ago.
Oh, I'm just old.
Well, I'm going to have to deduct some points for that.
Dude,
Can you deduct some years?
Wait until you find
If
out
only.
that. Wait until you find out about Candy Crush. It's not just Snake anymore.
Oh, I don't play that.
Yeah, you played Snake because you think it's 1999.
What about
still.
Royal Match? That's essentially Candy Crush. I got sucked into that one after years of.
I don't know. I don't play any of them.
Let's move along.
Play Tetris.
James.
I play hard to get.
James Byers suggests that he be the Amazon orderer.
For Crix's.
Yes.
I thought the Amazon orderer is. I'm not missing. He's just ordering from Amazon, but it's a double entendre.
Yes, I think
That's the winner. I mean, that's great. The Amazon orderer is actually fantastic.
Then James also suggested the grocery store customer.
Let's go back to Amazon order. I think Amazon order.
yeah, between
I
the
think
two, I like
Amazon
that one
order
better.
was.
Oh, Roy Bischoff, the Haggis Hillbilly.
Oh,
Wow, we have a contender.
That's pretty strong, folks.
that's a tough one. Haggis
Yeah.
Hillbilly's very, very good.
Yeah, I like that one quite a bit.
Yeah, because no hillbillies from Kentucky eat haggis. We're not into that.
Which
No,
is weird because
it's
y'all
like a
are
dare.
so Scotch Irish.
I mean, yeah, but fortunately we lost that one along the way. Let's see. Let's move on from that.
Yeah, you kept all the weird parts of it.
We did keep the weird parts. By the way, did you notice that Cash Daniel was announced as from Pikeville, Kentucky?
No.
No,
Yeah.
I did notice that, and I know that when y'all get out there in the actual minutia of that area, you're like, well, he ain't really from Pikeville.
He was born in the. The impression you did is that's supposed to be me. Is not.
No, it was y'all. It wasn't you. It was just y'all.
That
It
was a
just
collective
general
y'all in
impression of
general.
y'all.
Yeah.
He was born at the Pikeville Hospital, so he's allowed to say it. Pikeville Hospital is the obstetric hospital for the region, so.
Yeah, but did that exist in whatever year?
I mean, I was born at the Pikeville Hospital, so.
Yeah, but that was like the 1800s. I mean, you literally arrived
Yeah,
there.
they
Your
put a-
mom arrived there in covered wagon.
They put a leech on you.
Yeah, I mean, they gave her like a rag to bite on.
I had two. I'm exactly 3 days older than you.
You got a bug bite, and they were like, we're just gonna have to saw it off.
It's on his back. Never mind. Oh wow. James Byers then goes on to talk about he really enjoys the tag team division here at OVW. How do you guys feel like the tag team division is rolling right now?
I gotta see some more shooters come off the bench, man. That's how I feel right now. You guys are gonna get trounced by the trifecta. Trounced by the trifecta unless somebody starts stepping up. I'm looking at Showtime Shanklin. I'm looking at Justice Davis. I'm looking at potentially Lawless and Luscious.
I'm looking at Only Bros.
I'm looking at Only Bros. That's right. I'm looking at Only Bros.
Yeah.
I need you guys to stop sitting on the bench and start shooting, baby, because those guys are at the top of the mountain, and they ain't coming down unless somebody drags them off of it.
Yep.
So speaking about Luscious and Lawless, Amelia Jane said that she could see it and that she's on board. She says it could be an overman type deal.
Luscious and Lawless?
Yeah, do you think they could kind of get
Like a
into
sexy overman type deal?
sexy overman? Yeah.
Like a sensual overman?
Like sexual chocolate.
Like sexual chocolate. Yeah. Who else joins the ranks? Honestly, I think if you could flip Katina into sexy Katina,
That
have
ain't
him
happening.
join Loud and Lawless, that would. But no, it ain't happening because why would he ever leave the trifecta?
Yeah.
Especially when, as I said, they've got no challengers right now.
Yeah, I mean, not only that, but they've got the tag team titles
Yeah.
and they got new tracksuits. So,
Do
that's-
love the tracksuits.
Yeah.
Double A and Double B, Ashton Adonis, Brandon Beretta. A, B, and C, Adonis, Beretta, Katina.
Oh no, Amelia meant the trifecta could be like the Overman.
Oh yeah, no, I actually think that
yeah,
could
that
be
tracks.
That actually, I really really like where your head's at on that one. I do think that the next edition for the trifecta is a full-time manager only.
Yeah, but would that make them the quadrifecta?
No, it would be the trifecta
The
with
quadrophenia?
the trifecta with, you know.
I think it would be tetrafecta actually, but nevertheless, I agree with Jackman that they need a Miss Gannon maybe.
I think that she would be a lot. I think she would rise to the occasion in that role.
Did
But
we
just
ever
somebody
figure
to do
out-
paperwork, just somebody to make sure they get to the ring on time. Anthony Katina is still wrestling as well as managing. Like they need somebody to keep them as an organization a little bit under control, right?
Amelia suggests Superfecta.
I think that's something that you can win if you go to the racetrack like Keeneland.
It is. I believe you're right. I
Is
think
it
it's
really?
5.
What were you thinking though, Brian Hunts? As far as
I had it and I lost it.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. We'll figure it out. It'll come back to me here in a little bit. It always does.
Junk Punch Hero suggests that the Doom Syndicate, Star Rider's new faction, can maybe come for some tag team gold.
Well, if they did win, would they just give it to somebody else?
Yeah.
I mean, are they going to be like, hey, man, we won these tag team titles. You take them.
Just hand them off.
Yeah, here.
James Byers asked an interesting question as we're kind of wrapping up here. What is your guys' favorite year in wrestling? He loves 1999 and 1992.
You gonna take that one?
Those are very specific years. I would love to know the reasons behind loving each one of those individually. For me, it's got to be where it all began, and that's probably 1984, 1985.
So I've got
8 or 9 year old me sees the LJN Superstars for the first time, and I see NWA and WWF on Saturday mornings. Totally hooked from there on.
I have kind of a strange one, and mine is probably 2020, just because that Wednesday night AEW, getting together with my friends in a time where you weren't going to work and you weren't seeing other people, and we're all sitting 6 feet apart and we're all cooking these like massive meals because we don't have anywhere to go or anything to do. That Wednesday night routine and getting to see kind of the first major challenger to WWE in North America for 20 years, kind of rise, that kept me sane during the pandemic. Like the plight of AEW and you know, kind of trying to get this fledgling company off of the ground was definitely like the plight I think that a lot of people were feeling mentally and physically during 2020 as well. So it was just like, for me personally, sentimentally, sharing those memories with my friends, and also just like getting to see something really cool happen and grow organically and be a part of it. That mine's 2020.
As far as AEW, yes, but then think about what you have on the other side with WWE. My one biggest example is Seth Rollins, Rey Mysterio, eye for an eye match in front of zero crowd.
Well,
that?
I mean, yeah, I do. I remember John Moxley having an eye for an eye match 2 months earlier. But as long as we're talking about the Fed, Gunther before he was, or Walter before he was Gunther, and oh gosh, the little now I can't think of his name. Now he's in Walter's group.
Oh, I don't remember those guys' names. I have my own names for them, and I won't bother to say them on the air.
But that match, that empty arena match where they just had the most physical, blood-curdling, assault-ridden match that I've ever seen in my life, and it was just chops. There was no weapons. There's no thumbtacks. There's no nothing. It's just two dudes hitting the hell out of each other. That was also a highlight from that year.
Well, I mean, to be fair and not just be critical of the other major player in place, Bray Wyatt.
Yeah,
in 2020.
Yeah, that was really, he was really cooking, really cooking in late 2019.
He single-handedly got my son and I through the pandemic and inspired our solo project that we spent a considerable amount of time doing. And Trey told me this weekend that that's why he stopped watching wrestling, because
Bray Wyatt passed away.
Bray Wyatt, yeah.
All right, guys, we're going to have to pretty much leave it there. I need to quickly go to the calendar tomorrow. 6:15, doors open, Hot Point Davis Arena, OVW Rise. Come and see them. It's a great show. You're going to enjoy it. Next Tuesday, the show that always kicks out at 2 is OVW Overdrive with Brian Kennison and Steven Johnson. 1 week from today, 6 days, 23 hours from right now, we'll be back for OVW Fanzone Live, where fans talk back.
From all of us here at the Blimp, thank you, Gladiator Sports Network. My name is Jack Minogues.
I'm Brian Hines.
Go watch the podcast at OVW Podcast.
See ya.